Well, if you have some time, take a look at this interview I did with a podcaster. I really go through all the programs that are available for you to almost to do anything you want in life. I mean, we have government money programs that give out millions of dollars, actually an average of $22,000 to every family every year in America. But people don't know where to apply. So that's why learn about this system in this video and then see the links on the side there. I have the best links. You don't have to give me any money to do this, to go start. One is where to get free help with your debt or credit. That's at HUD.gov/counseling, and it goes on the best sources for business, the best sources for healthcare, the best sources for getting a job or buying a house, all this kind of stuff. But you then have to follow up and contact these people. That's the key. So watch this video, and if you need more help, see the link down on the bottom at lescohelp.com. That's where we give personal one-on-one help to apply for every grant you're eligible for.
Mr. Leco.
Matthew.
Matthew, nice to meet you, sir.
My pleasure.
How's everything going today?
Good, good. Now, when people say Mr. Leco, I look for my father. You know, he died long ago.
Well, I'm a Joe, so when I hear Joseph, I'm like, oh my God, what did I do wrong?
It's like your mother.
Yeah, it's like I didn't do anything. I'm just sitting here.
So where are you? That's a great graphic behind you.
Oh, thank you, man. Yeah, I'm a visual artist, so it's kind of my rendering of the United States of America.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Thank you.
Oh, so you did that.
Yeah. That's my therapy. I love painting.
Wow, that's terrific.
Thank you.
Are you hanging in galleries or what?
I do shows here. Yep.
Yeah.
I'm regular on the circuit here. I'm in Kansas City, so there's galleries and venues that I get involved with. And I'm kind of a guy, I have this thing where I put artwork out for people. I just kind of have gotten to that point in my life where I want to give things away and I make it an adventure. So people either keep it or they travel with it and I turn it into an adventure. So it's fun. So I do a combination of both, but it's a lot of fun.
So it's a big community there. I have an artist friend, Mattingly is his name. Doesn't ring a bell, but big city.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's a surprising arts, and I mean, we get pigeonholed being in a cow town, but there's a lot of arts and culture here. And I mean, it didn't hurt that we have St. Mahomes on his magic horse giving us a dynasty, right? But overall, it's a pretty cool town.
Yeah.
So where are you located?
Washington, D.C.
Okay, that's what I figured. I figured you were there. Well, I got to tell you, one of the most indelible parts of my childhood was seeing about 2 or 3 commercials, and you were one of them. And I always loved it. You would fly in there, and I always felt good when I was done. I was like, I'm going to go get some money. I'm going to find where these rocks are. And it's like the Shawshank Redemption. Just go down to the end of that wall, and you're going to find it.
Oh, that's cute. Thank you.
Thank you so much for taking a minute out today.
Hey. I mean, like an artist or anything, if you have a talent or whatever, if you can't help people, if they don't know it, you can't help anybody. I mean, I find I have to be twice as creative getting the work out as doing the work.
Absolutely, for sure. Well, you've been awfully creative and poignant at what you've done. And I'm curious, before we get into that, I want to know, one of the biggest moments that we've lived through recently has been this pandemic. How did that affect you and the way that you do your work and influence people?
It was incredibly helpful.
Yeah.
Because my mission was trying to educate people about government programs. And most people think government is the IRS, the post office, and the DMV. You mean they give money too? Yeah. So it was hard. That was a big hurdle to get over to convince me. Yes, the government does do these kinds of things. So when the government, the COVID was just sending out checks to everybody.
Yeah.
See, that just educated a lot of people. Hey, fuck, man, there's something there. Yeah.
So if I put you in front of a bunch of grade school kids right now, third graders at career day, and one of the kids didn't quite know exactly who you are or what you do, and they were like, hey, what do you do for a living? How do you break that down for them?
Well, for an adult, I guess an author is easy for them to understand. But I'm really a teacher, I feel, teaching people about how to use the government and how it could be helpful for doing things in life. Um, and so I was a college professor, but in computer science.
Yeah.
But the education part, that's what taught me you can't educate anybody if you can't keep them awake.
Yeah. Very
First,
true.
keep them awake.
Yes. So, what did you want to be in the third grade? When you were a kid, what was your dream to grow up and become?
Jesus, I remember this is the 50s.
Yeah.
So, uh, my dad was a entrepreneur, immigrant. His parents were, both my grandparents were immigrants, and they were starting small businesses up in Pennsylvania. It was a garment industry. We had a little garment. Nobody went to college. Um, but it raised me well. So I always thought maybe there, and I sort of like clothes,
Yeah.
and I thought, well, maybe kind of thing would be the thing I like downtown, like a little men's clothing store was sort of, probably something in. The other option was working in the factory, which I hated. You made me there eighth grade working in the factory. Oh God, that was like going to the dentist every day. Uh, and so that was it. But then when I see the world, then I hated retail because, oh shit, you had to be somewhere 9 to 5.
Yeah.
Retail sounded dreadful.
Yeah. So, what were some of the foundational elements that have grown into this passion that you've had, that you've influenced so many people with? What was the first moment where you were like, there's money out there and I'm going to help people find it?
Well, because I was my computer. Are we doing this? This is the good stuff.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Okay. I want to make sure the good stuff isn't left on the cutting room floor or
Yeah.
whatever.
Totally.
Uh, well, it was I got an MBA, went to the military 3 years, 2 months, 9 days. It was Vietnam, and I joined the Navy because I didn't want to sleep in the jungle. And then when I got out of there, then I wanted to get an MBA, even though I was a terrible student my whole life. But I had GI money, and they let me get an MBA school. And tell you the truth, I barely got through college, but graduate school was really easy. I don't know why. Maybe I was just older and ready to study or something. Got an MBA in computer science and management information systems, and I really wanted to get corporate executives realize about information. The computer was doing information, but the computer was only inside the business information. We only did like back in the 70s, the first computers were like payroll and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But that's when also happened was the oil embargo.
Yep.
And that was the first time businesses could see some little country in the middle of nowhere, they didn't even know what the hell it was, brought everybody to their knees. I said, what companies had to worry about is what's going on outside their business, not inside their business. And I developed something through my MBA program called the External Management Information System. I was going around corporation. I got to monitor the external environment of your company. Nobody knew what the fuck I was talking about. Didn't care. And then I said, oh, I do research. What do you want to know? And the people want to know that were really the merger and acquisition people, the corporate planning, people really looking for the future of the company. But that was mostly markets and competitors. So I would do research on that and get them information. I was finding, boy, I could find information any company in the world, any market in the world, right here in Washington, D.C. I just run over to some office and there's some bureaucrats sitting there studying pasta. I remember working on a project for Procter and Gamble. Wanted to get in the pasta business. So they get a market study about. I go down and talk to this guy who spends the last 20 years studying the pasta business in Washington. Yeah, he's on the government payroll doing that. So I would talk to him, get all this information, the studies, and they spent hundreds of thousands of dollars doing these studies. And so I take all this stuff, take their name off, put my name on them, thank the government, and sell it for thousands of dollars to these people.
Wow.
And I saw that these millionaires will be becoming billionaires on stuff I found for them in the government. said, "Jesus, why don't people in Kansas City know about this?"
Yeah.
Or Wilkes-Barre, where I grew up, nobody knew about it. And then plus the money, I was helping them get money for the programs to start businesses, grow business, train people. Holy shit, yeah. And rich people are boring to work for. All
Yeah.
they care about is money. There's no soul. There's no art in anything they do.
Yeah.
Um, or a few, I'm sure there's some, but and so God, I got to get the average person to realize, what I learned, and that motivated me, and it still does. I still have Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania in my head when I talk about these things. I'm not talking to some sophisticated person, and no matter what happens, I keep reinventing it in a way because then I did books, so that's how the average person did. But I sold millions and millions of books, but nobody really did anything with the books. They were sort of like diet books.
Yeah.
Here's a diet book on how to lose weight. Nobody loses weight. But now, and then it took me about, God, maybe as much as 7, 10 years to figure out how to get this information to people now and with the tools. And I always thought the computer was great as soon as, CompuServe was around, if you're old enough to remember.
Yeah.
But I didn't know how people pay for it and everything because nobody wanted to buy a reference book anymore. You had Google.
Yeah.
But now it's a community, and this
Yeah.
is working better than anything, and the best thing I've ever done because people really get help. And when I first started this, I was just looking for a way to make a living and live out the rest of my life with something I thought was important to do, like you as an artist or whatever, because this is my art. Um, and and it's just growing way beyond I thought, and it's so profitable. And we only paid $20. What I should charge 20,000 for Fortune 500 companies, I do it for $20. It's
Yeah.
even better now. And it's scalable now, and it doesn't require me because other members help members. Hey, I got this, and they show, and I feel that they're even better to get help from someone new to the game than me. I've been saying this 50 years. It's you got to, I watch a pig fly to excite me about this stuff, but somebody who just found, look what I got. Oh, I didn't know this.
Yeah.
So they could relate to each other a lot better than me. I'm just sort of there to bring him into the tent.
So how did you get to be so prolific with being on TV and getting it out? Because everybody that I would ever know, because I grew up in the 80s, that I would mention
Yeah,
the question mark guy, they all know who
yeah,
you are. How
yeah.
did that become such a streamline for you?
Uh, because number one, I was a teacher and realized if I can't keep somebody awake, I can't teach them anything.
Yeah.
Number two, when I started my business, I was doing like ads that were for businesses, and I was doing ads like putting 1 inch ads in the Wall Street Journal. Those little tombstone ads, or it's all I could afford. I couldn't afford it. I said, geez, I'm getting nothing. I would get people writing in crayon on their napkin and asking. It just was trouble. And I said, now if I could get the Wall Street Journal to write me up,
Mhm.
yeah, now that is. Uh, and so that's how I started even my business to business. I was really getting free publicity instead of advertising, paying for advertising. Then when I started doing books, this is back in the big talk show era. And I said, well, that's the way you advertised here is get on talk shows. That's why I'd go to Kansas City and do 4 or 5 interviews.
Yeah.
But why was I popular in Kansas City? Because the only thing I talked about, I mean, I just saw it as I don't care what you think of me. I'm here to educate you. And I realized quickly that media, electronic media at that time, and I'm sure it still is, I don't care what you say, it's how you say it. I used to worry so much. Oh, let's go on page 75. You said this and this is wrong. Nobody reads this shit. Nobody cares.
Yeah.
And I used to do a book a year. I'd write a book for a year, then I'd spend a month figuring out what I was going to say. So it was a commercial. If I got an interview, that was a pre-packaged ad. I figured out, okay, what's the best thing for me to say for a minute? Because if I come to Kansas City, I do maybe the new news.
Yeah.
And I only get 60 seconds. So I don't have 60 seconds to waste on answering your question. And so I have the five things that this is for a 1 minute, this is for a 5 minute, this is for 80 minutes. And if it's more than 7 minutes, it'll all come out. It doesn't matter. So like doing the hour talk shows, it'll all come out. It doesn't matter. But the short ones, and I remember like on the Today Show, I forget who it was, Jane Pauley or somebody like that. Yeah. Oh, Matthew, aren't these applications difficult or whatever? And the easiest thing I do to get that out of the way, yes, you're right, Jane. But did you know you could get a house for $1?
Yeah, right.
It's like Trump.
Right.
He doesn't answer questions.
Right, exactly.
He answers the what you should have asked.
Uh-huh. Yes.
And all
So,
politicians do that.
oh,
But
they do.
also, Trump, I see, Jesus, that's what I do. I mean, he throws such a show and is so outrageous and everything. That's what gets the camera. That's what gets the media. I mean, his first campaign, he didn't spend $1, I think, on media. He'd just say outrageous, crazy shit.
Uh-huh. And they just fell for it. They just went for it.
Absolutely right.
So, who's been a hero for you? Who's been a motivator for you in all this work that you've done?
Well, in my work, I remember it was on top. I never did or whatever for some reason. I'm not egotistical. I feel like a pretty mediocre person, so it's not. But I don't know why I never. But I was on some talk show, a big panel, like a Shark Tank thing or something like that, and there was a bunch of us infomercial people on it. They wanted to know who our heroes were, and I was thinking hard. And what amazes me was came up with Muhammad Ali.
Yeah.
And I'm at 81. I forget a lot of names.
Yeah.
The guy who brought South Africa out,
Mandela.
Nelson Mandela.
Yeah.
These two people that went to jail for their principles, gave up everything. I mean, what? I mean, God, I mean, we don't do that in this country. People don't do that. I mean, have something. That's what I think life really is having something bigger than you to worry about, because then all that little hurts and pains and all that beat up we all get in life is easier to handle if you're trying to do something bigger than you. And that's what keeps me going now at 81. Retiring sounds like I might as well be under the ground. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it also keeps me involved and healthier and mentally healthier. Always kept me mentally healthier. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there were the two kind of, and it surprised me back then. I mean, this is probably 20 years ago or so. It was two black guys. But Muhammad Ali, my Muhammad Ali story, I used to give seminars in fancy hotels when I was doing business to business. I would teach corporate executives how to get information in Washington. And so I'd go, because I was so insecure about my information, I'd just have the seminar in the fanciest hotel. So they think it's great shit.
Yeah.
Instead of the Howard Johnson's or something. And we were in some fancy hotel going to talk to like Fortune 500 marketing people or something like that. And my staff found that Muhammad Ali was like in the next thing promoting toothpaste, some PSA kind of stuff. And they brought him over to meet me. And I was up giving the head of the thing, giving that, you come up to shake my hand, and I fell on the ground when he shook my hand, like he beat me up. I'll go for a gag anyway. Awesome. And he was terrific. He said, "Wow, let's go. Howard Cosell makes a lot of money making an ass about himself. What's your excuse?"
That's great.
Yeah, he's a special guy.
Wow. So you got to meet your hero. That's wonderful, man.
Yeah.
So let me
But
ask
he
you,
wasn't at the time. I didn't even know.
right. Yeah, of course. Yeah.
That was before I had to say who my hero was later.
Yeah. So let me ask you this. In the early days, what was one of the best fan letters you ever got that really kind of fueled and put things in perspective?
it always does. And I still get, now of course I got more of them myself, but it always, I think as an artist, I mean, sure with you, anybody who says he loves your shit, man,
Yeah, I get it.
nothing is better. I mean, we're here like you. I mean, Smiley, come here. Can you just look at it? I want my wife to see this. This is the lady who lets me live with her.
Oh,
That's his work. He's in
oh,
Kansas City.
oh,
Isn't Mattingly there?
but not right there. Yeah,
Right.
right. Yeah.
Well, thank
Oh
you.
my goodness.
Yeah, that's thank you. It's therapy. I love painting. So it's good, but
Mm,
it's a rendering of the United States.
Yeah, no, it's
yeah,
obvious.
right.
Well, cool.
It looks a
Yeah.
little like our heart.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Let me show you my
Let me
wall.
Yeah,
close the
totally.
Yeah.
door.
Yeah.
It's sort of that 3D.
Oh yeah. Yeah. That's awesome.
And I don't know if you could see over here. We have see that.
Oh yeah, yeah, I see it over there on the corner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now
Yeah.
that's to the bathroom.
Yeah.
And then I have a hold on.
Yeah.
Trying to get this hooked up.
So my son Miles is on the autism spectrum. He's 19 and he loves clothes and colors.
Uh-huh.
Dude, if he saw your shirt, he would totally lose his mind. He would be
Really?
all over the place. Yeah. That's a wonderful shirt.
See, that thing is on the way to the bathroom.
That's awesome. That's so cool.
And what I want to do is hook it up to the flushers.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Give me your address. I'll send them one.
Yeah.
Or, yeah.
And I'd love to send you some stickers and some art.
That'd be
Yeah.
wonderful.
Yeah, totally.
Okay.
We can swap
Yeah.
that at the end.
Right, good.
So I'm curious, you've been at this for a long time and your influence is always so powerful. What has been the motivator for you every day to wake up to do this work, to be you?
I guess insecurity and greed. And maybe that's getting to love. I don't know. You're growing up, you're a lot younger than me, but growing up in the 50s and 60s, men didn't say love. I don't even remember it in the house. Yeah, nobody said that. And growing up, my mind was always, if I said I loved you, I gotta had to marry you. And recently, as I get older, and this just happened a few years ago, we moved out of our house where we raised the kids, and we're down downtown DC in a small apartment. And but somehow I feel okay. I can't, I ran 5-6 miles a day for 50 years or more, and had to stop that because I was falling on my face. And it wasn't the muscles and bones are okay, but it's just the brain's not working well enough to think that fast, or my feet don't go up fast enough. So I can't do that. I can't get faster. I can't get stronger. I can't get smarter, but I could love harder.
Yeah.
See, as you get older, that's one thing you could do harder. Yeah. Everything else you can't. It's going to get worse.
Well said. That's genius.
Yeah.
Sure.
And so that's what it is. And that's why everything in my work, I mean, I talk about it in my work for the first time. I said, we're here to love our members. Yeah. I don't care how you do it. I don't tell people what to do. I mean, I have a general idea of helping people. I'm not going to develop a cookie cutter for everyone to help this way, because love is so. It's like you're going to make love to somebody with a spreadsheet.
Right.
That comes from your heart.
Yeah.
And that's why I feel that your heart is smarter than your brain, and particularly in this country we're in, it's how smart you are, and some expert knows the right answer and all that kind of stuff. And so we put the brain aside. I mean, the brain is important, make sure you're not going off a cliff, but it's not really. Like initially I used to be only question marks. I think there's some on this, but I had question mark suits when you saw me all the time.
Yeah.
And then I got, oh, that was because back then when information was out, boy, the first time you could get the answer to anything.
Mm-hmm.
And probably a million answers. So my thing is, no, you have to ask the right question.
Yeah.
It's easy to get answers. The right question. Now I'm above that because even if you get the right answer, your heart has to be in it to make it happen. Because if your heart's not in it, you know, and the more I think about it, that's because everything you do in life is going to be a pain in the ass.
Right.
No escaping that. We think some expert's going to give us the 1, 2, 3 recipe for success, but if you follow it and do it, you're still going to fail like shit, and pain in the ass and all that kind of stuff. So if your heart's not in it, you're going to stop and find something that's not a pain in the ass, and you'll keep doing that until you're under the ground.
Yeah, for sure. So of all of these things that you've done and accomplished in your life, what are you ultimately the proudest of?
Initially, being on the New York Times bestseller list. Why, that's a fucking Mars, man. I funked English in high school, college, everything.
Yeah.
Barely, and been kicked out of high school for grades or being a smart ass more. And in college, barely got through. And so never an intellectual. And so like being on the New York Times, that was just, and twice, holy shit.
Yeah.
But I see that, and it doesn't even mean as much now as it does. People say, New York what?
Right.
Is that on YouTube? So I don't know. It is, I think, my kids, seeing what happened to them.
Yeah.
And I didn't have a way to do it. It was really, what I learned from them too is that I didn't know the answer to any of their problems. But it felt like if I just paid attention, that was a thing. And I didn't yell at them to study in their room. If I sat with them to study for an hour, that was all we just want is attention. I saw so many things. I'm very fortunate. The kids, I learned so much from them and have, because God, if you live long, what you learned to be successful where you are, even at your age, that's not going to work anymore.
Right.
And your kid, who is 18, 19-year-old, he has a better idea what the future is because you're not, invested in any skills and techniques that you've invested in all these years that finally worked.
Yeah.
They keep changing the game on us. It's sort of like grade school and then high school. Oh fuck.
Yeah. Right. 100%. Yeah.
So that's
So,
why I like young people around, because they're struggling through without the baggage of success.
yeah.
Yeah. And that is, we live in an apartment building. There's 70 units in here. Half the people are certainly under 40, probably even more. And they're smaller apartments, mostly 1 bedroom. But we bought 2 together and made them our kids. We have 2 grandkids in the area too. So when they come over, we needed more room.
Yeah.
And it's fun to watch them struggle. And I'm more social now than I've ever been. I mean, in 40 years living in the suburbs, whatever, if I threw 1 party, I think was a lot.
Yeah.
I came down here the first year, I threw 7 parties.
Wow.
And for all the neighbors. This weekend, we had 4 rock and roll bands in our driveway.
Right on. That's awesome.
How do you get community? And that's why the community, to me, is so, they don't seem to be, I didn't do this, who knows why, in the suburbs, but here, your people in the elevator, they live this next to you. I mean, I lived downtown before, but it was never close. Like now, I feel it's, to know people individually who are just 6 inches away is very comforting.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I work on that because it's selfish. See,
Right.
that's what grows my heart.
Yeah.
It is loving everybody I can more. And that's selfish. It's not for them.
Right. Right.
It's for me.
I get it. Totally do.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, everyone out there has a perception view. You have a persona, you have family, friends,
Right.
everyone that gets your book, everyone in your community, but you run the show. What's your perception of you? Who do you think you are?
Scared. not less at this age. I'm more comfortable. Before I did anything, I would have been pissed if I died. Yeah, at 32 or so, after 3 failing businesses and all that kind of stuff. And now, yeah, but I'm working on that now. I mean, I get more love now than I've ever felt, and I could love harder. Even my relationship with Smiley. I mean, we've been together 40, I think 42,
Yeah.
whatever our oldest kid is.
Yeah.
And even the sex is better than ever.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just, I don't know what it is. And we all could do it. It's in us. And we all wait for somebody else to make it better, but
Right. Right.
it's us, because then it reflects back somehow. Yeah. I don't know.
No, that's such a wonderful answer. So if anyone wants to get involved with your community, any of the
Yeah.
good business in your world, where do they go?
Letsgohelp.com.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
This
So I just noticed that is not your wall. That's an
but
image.
yes, it is an image. I wish it was. Well, that original painting, my wife's a high school teacher and
Oh,
it's
wonderful.
yeah, she teaches English, so it's in her room. So yeah.
Oh,
So
wonderful.
she has first dibs on all my stuff.
I
So
say,
her room's full of artwork.
oh, that's great.
So
Oh, that's
so
a wonderful. Wow. So what do you do professionally then, besides
I,
the artwork?
I'm a busybody, man. I'm an IT technician for a large school district here in Kansas City. I
Oh,
do
neat.
podcasting. I'm a visual artist. I just released my first book.
On what?
And I try to I love my family, my son, we're around each other all the time. And
Right.
yeah,
Wonderful.
so just so many things.
What's the book?
It's a poetry book. It's
Oh, wow.
yeah, it just came out. It's called The American Enigma Is You, and it just got released like a week ago, and I'm over the moon, man. It's been like three
Wow.
decades. I've dreamed of it,
Wow.
and it's just like, holy shit, here we are. It's
Yeah.
great.
I mean, poetry, I feel it. Boy, that's what songwriters are, aren't they?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Yeah. The
Yeah.
same train, trying to dig into those words. And so, and to me, it's important because I do headlines. My
Right.
life is headlines,
Yeah.
especially with social media. And that's what I used to think I did. I've written like 100 books, and only 10 made money though.
Right.
And I could say, I could do a book on anything. I can't think of the title.
Right.
And then I could, oh, well, God, you're a busy guy. Is your
Well,
son the only child?
well, and I have a stepdaughter, and she
Uh-huh.
just moved out. So yeah, I stay busy. The one thing I didn't mention, which you remind me of so much, I have a jazz radio show, and I interview
Oh,
musicians, and I'm in the jazz world all the time covering
oh,
it.
love jazz. Kansas City is big.
Man, I'm telling you, and the scene's great here, and
Yeah.
they're the coolest cats in the world, man.
Oh,
They like
absolutely.
so much of what you riffed on is exactly
Yeah.
what comes from their soul. They are the most
Yeah.
grounded, humble humans.
Yeah.
They're beautiful people.
Right. No, I've always, since the 50s,
Yeah.
been attracted to it. And I was thinking, who was it? I was thinking a lyricist, jazz piano player, lyricist. God, my attorney Bernie. What the hell is his name anyway? Yeah, I love him too.
Yeah.
I'm even trying to get more music, and I see even non-jazz. We have in town the best thing we have, and I think it's still open. Shit, I can't remember
I, and I'm
that.
trying to think too, because I've been to DC and I've been
Uh,
around and I know there's good
yeah,
venues and there's a lot
yeah,
of cats that have come out of DC and love
right,
the area.
yeah,
So,
yeah,
but that music, man, that'll keep you young. It's like I remember the
yeah.
morning that Kurt Vonnegut died,
Hmm.
there was a little NPR snippet that came on and it said his whole life he was an atheist, but if he believed in God, it was because there was music on planet Earth. And I
Wow,
just, you know,
that's wonderful. Yeah,
no,
no,
it's
and that's the truth. I mean, it's oh no, and that's why I'm attracted to artists. And see, like you, and then I had an art, and I always, as a young person, I was always envious of any artist. You know, even they were a dancer, an actor, or whatever, musician. I had none of that. But then I really learned we're all artists at something.
yes.
You know, and if you find your art, which I did,
Yep.
then I have to do it.
Yeah.
You know, it's not. Yeah, that's why. And the traditional artists, well, those people knew what the fuck they had to do. What do I mean? I have to be a salesman? No.
Right.
That's another funny thing because I am thought because of infomercials and everything, people think I'm one of the biggest hucksters in the country. And I don't see it as me selling at all.
Right.
Yeah, I'm just educating. Yeah.
Yeah, you are. You totally are. That's all I ever got. So,
Yeah.
so I'm curious, was it like a pressure cooker up there until yesterday with all this election stuff? How does it feel to be up there in DC when this is
Yeah,
happening?
we're really involved, and it's certainly it's all Democrats, so everybody's very sad today.
So am I.
And I have a boy that works very close with actually with the Surgeon General, and he's been in it from Obama. And that was another thing. This is where I got the thing about your heart smarter than your brain. Just got out of college, he came back to Washington trying to get a job on the Hill or something like that. Couldn't get a job. And got on some PR firm or something like that. And didn't like it. And I got together and we were talking. And he said, "Boy, I read this book about the Obama guy who's going to run for president." Yeah. He didn't know. I didn't even know anything about him, but he was just starting. I said, "Yeah, I want to go work for him." And he was getting advice, and the advice he was getting was, well, he's got a good job with a good pension. And, he's 22 or 23 or something. I said, fuck, yeah. If you still feel bad every time you're waking up on Monday, like it's going to school, your heart's smarter than your brain. I said, get the fuck out of here and just go figure it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally true.
But see, that's why loved ones protect you. So to me, they're dangerous. They don't want you to get hurt.
Right. Yeah.
Right. So you're going to fail. Yes. So the way to get rid of it. Yes, I know.
Yeah, right. Right.
Don't try to argue that you're not because you are. Yeah.
That's where the wisdom kicks in, being around for a little while, for sure. So,
yeah.
But man, you look, you just, it's so nice to meet you, man. You're just, the vibrancy and light just spills out of you, man. Thank you so much.
I can't wait to get up every morning.
I love it. And it just, it exudes from you.
I have 80 things I'd love to do. And the nicest thing is I don't have to worry about a rent.
Right. That's a good thing. But I would imagine you saying being around young people, that has to keep you vital and keep everything flowing, huh?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's why your kids do it one time if you don't. But now I'm in a community with all these 30, 40-year-olds trying to figure out how to get through life. So am I.
Yeah. Right.
Because nothing I learned and they admire me maybe for that shit doesn't work anymore.
Yeah.
And that's a bigger handicap.
Yeah.
Because unlearning it, you really have to get beat up a lot before you unlearn it.
Yeah. That's very
You'll
true.
find an excuse. Oh, he's just an asshole, doesn't understand. Yeah.
That is so true, man.
Yeah, it's so hard.
Well, before this time runs out on here, I just want to make sure I thank you profoundly. Thank you for your time. This has been just so illuminating, man, and keep changing the world. You're doing wonderful work. So thank you.
I'm about to cry. You say that because I know it's coming from your heart. And I love crying. I used to hate it as a teenager in the 50s.
Right.
But now I love it because I know something important is happening.
Yeah.
How else do you know? You get so much fucking media.
Noise and shit.
Right. And how much noise. Boy, if you're crying, then that means something important. So anytime you're around, let me know.
I love it. Yeah, absolutely. Matthew, thank you, sir.
You bet.
Take care.
See you.